Chapter 8. The Light of Inner Consciousness. When we function through outer consciousness only, we are able to appreciate only those things that appeal to the physical senses, or to reason, or to the usual states of emotion. That is, we live almost exclusively in the material world, and therefore can have no real understanding of things spiritual. We may believe in the spiritual and be more or less conscious of the finer things in life, and yet, if we look upon all things through the light of outer consciousness, we can have no true conception of the spiritual world or spiritual life. We do realize, in the least, what it means to be spiritual, or what it means to be in touch with higher spiritual power, and for this reason can neither possess spiritual power nor respond to the healing or emancipating influence of that power. To possess spiritual power, we must be able to function, at least to some degree, through the elements of inner consciousness, and the same is true if we wish to respond to such power. If we wish to be healed by spiritual power, we must live largely in the world of inner consciousness, because spiritual power acts only through that world. When our minds are living and moving in the world of inner consciousness, we can be reached by spiritual power. That is, we are more or less in the world where spiritual power naturally finds expression, and therefore this power may work through us fully and freely as we desire. There are many who seemingly cannot be healed by spiritual power, and the reason why is simply this: that they have not entered inner consciousness. They are living on the outside of the spiritual realm. They do not come in contact in any way with the finer spiritual forces, and therefore they are never touched by these forces in any mode or manner. Everybody can, however, learn to enter inner consciousness, and this is indeed something we all should learn to the most perfect degree this very day. They who do live to some degree in the world of inner consciousness can be healed of anything through the full and proper administration of spiritual power, and they may proceed at any time to employ that same power in the building of a richer, larger life for body, mind, and soul. They will respond invariably to the influence of higher spiritual power, whatever the need or the goal may be. And it is well to know that the number of human souls who are in touch with inner consciousness is very large, although many of them are not aware of the privilege they enjoy. However, the very moment they give their attention to the spiritual side of life, they find they can be helped and helped wonderfully by spiritual means. They were ready to receive higher power, and they were ready because they were living largely in that finer realm through which the spiritual forces live and move and have their being. Great souls live constantly both in the world of outer consciousness and in the world of inner consciousness. They are therefore in possession of higher spiritual power at all times, and may give that power expression in any way desired. It is not necessary, however, to live absolutely in the world of inner consciousness in order to respond to spiritual power. But this is necessary before we can personally possess and employ spiritual power. Even though but a corner of your mind should extend, ever so little, into the world of inner consciousness, that would mean that the door was open. Spiritual power could then come into your mind and body, and if fully administered, could act in you with sufficient force to banish every ailment, weakness, or wrong that might exist in your system. If you should wish, however, to gain possession of remarkable spiritual power to be employed in the emancipation of others, and for the furthering of your own higher development, it would be necessary to extend your whole mind into the wonderful world of inner consciousness. In brief, you would find it necessary to enter so fully into the consciousness that you could actually feel the tremendous forces of the Spirit surging through your entire system like a mighty, invincible current, and you would always be conscious of that all-powerful presence. To learn to enter more and more deeply into the world of inner consciousness, we must consider the great law, that the human mind tends to develop in that direction where we express our deepest desires, our strongest thoughts, and our highest faith. The way, therefore, is simple. There are no mysterious methods to employ or rigid rules to follow. The first step is to know that inner consciousness is the consciousness of that interior life, that per all life and the consciousness of the spiritual world, a world that is to the visible cosmos what the soul is to the visible form of man. When you enter interior consciousness, you not only become conscious of your own soul, but you also become conscious of the soul of the universe. You gain the power to discern the spiritual side of all things, because your mind has been extended into that vast interior realm where the spiritual elements and the spiritual forces forever have their being. The second step is to desire inner consciousness with a deeper and stronger desire than you have ever felt before. In truth, this desire should become a soul passion, continuous and invincible, and the power of that desire will draw the mind farther and farther into the world of interior consciousness until you actually live and move in that world. Then to the power of this desire we must add the power of our strongest and most concentrated thought. Think on these things, and think with such power and feeling that your whole mental life enters into the very spirit of these things, into the very soul of the spiritual world. Then crown your efforts with faith, pure, interior, unbounded faith. Know that your mind is entering more deeply and more perfectly into the illumined world of interior consciousness. Believe this absolutely and enter into the spirit of that belief, into the very life of that faith that has limitless faith in faith. End of chapter.